And joining me now is our friend, Vanity Fair special correspondent and host of the Fast Politics podcast, Molly Jong-Fast. Good to see you, Molly. So, how effective can these protests be? Does the administration care about what their constituents are saying? Because they told Republican lawmakers, hey, stop holding town halls when voters started getting angry about actions that have been taken by the administration. Or are these protests just meant to fire up opposition to take action?
Protests are super meaningful and important. And in fact, I've interviewed all these different academics on my podcast. And whenever you talk to them, they actually say, this is a game of inches, not feet, right? This is everything matters. And actually, we already see this pushback. We already see these protests are actually getting some. We see the White House understands, and they see that this isn't popular. And I think between this and the polling and just, that moment in that town hall when Grassley was talking to a constituent and constituent was saying, like, bring back that guy, that was very meaningful because it showed that these stories are breaking through to red states, to constituents who might otherwise be okay with some of the things that Trump wants to do.
Yeah, in fact, in addition to that Grassley constituent, Democrats have seized on Kilmer Abrego Garcia's imprisonment to highlight Trump's disregard for the courts and due process. The administration claims his case is about illegal immigration and gang violence, despite no evidence that Garcia committed any crimes. Is the administration maintaining focus on this, Molly, to avoid talking about the plummeting stock market or gutting federal research programs, neither of which are popular? And Democrats, are they taking the bait?
So this is a real question. We saw Governor Newsom talk about this idea that maybe you couldn't hold several ideas at once. I actually think he's wrong. I actually think the polling on this is bad. People don't like anyone being disappeared in the middle of the night. The Supreme Court, you were just doing a segment on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that people have the right to due process no matter what their immigration status is. That is meaningful, especially from this very conservative court that overturned Roe. So I do think that it's worth realizing that actually this is really a big deal and that voters can see that both they don't like this administration disappearing people in the middle of the night, and they also don't like the tariffs. And in fact, I think they're able to hold multiple ideas in their head at the same time.
So alarms are being raised, suggesting the emergency is here, that if the administration can get away with deporting Garcia and shaking down universities, that it is the end of due process for everyone. Even the New York Times' measured columnist, David Brooks, is calling for a national civic uprising to confront Trump's authoritarianism. If the country is in a crisis, Molly, are Democrat leaders, are they prepared to meet this moment? I mean, what can they actually accomplish with only limited power right now in Washington?
So it's a really good point. And actually, there's a very smart academic called Thomas Zimmer from Georgetown who was actually writing about this today. Right? How is it meaningful? And I think a really good example is Van Hollen, Senator Van Hollen he's a Maryland senator. He went down to visit his constituent Garcia, who was in Elkhart. And what happened with this was not so much that he could rescue him. It was more that he, drew attention to it, which is a big deal, even if you are in power, that being able to get the public focus on something is a big deal. And then also he was able to speak to him, make sure he was okay, and sort of his actions showed that none of this is all right. And you'll see, right, the polling right now for Democrats, the Democrats who are doing things like Cory Booker and AOC and Bernie Sanders, and now I'm sure you'll see this with Van Hollen, their polling is going through the roof. Their small dollar donation numbers are humongous. And that's not because of whether or not they're left or center left or far left. That's because they are team fight versus team cave. And we saw really Governor Pritzker talk about this idea. People want their electeds, especially Democrats, to stand up for norms and institutions. And that was what Senator Van Hollen did. I think it's really important. I think it's meaningful, and it's the only way we're going to be able to protect our norms and institutions.
So Republicans, they are reportedly contemplating the once unthinkable, raising taxes on wealthy Americans. This is after the urging of President Trump as the GOP faces pressure to try to cover the multi-trillion-dollar cost of extending the 2017 tax cuts, risking then steep cuts to Medicaid and other social safety net programs. Will the No New Taxes party actually do this? I mean, does it play to their political advantage? Would Democrats then lose another battleground issue to Trump?
I mean, look, it's hard for me to imagine that they're going to cut taxes for working people, especially because so much of Trump's campaign was really, to keep these 2017 tax cuts he put in place. So I would be surprised. I mean, certainly it's possible, and there is no real coherent, sort of financial structure to Trumpism. So maybe, but I think it's unlikely. And I also think, look, Trump has real big problems with the tariffs and the trade war that's coming with China. And he's going to have to address that, I think that's going to cause a lot of problems with passing legislation on tax cuts.
Okay. Molly Jong-Fast, I missed you. Where have you been for a few weeks? Anyway, I'm glad you're back.